comments made by MP Terrico on Radio New Zealand this morning is damaging for the private sector on the island, says Minister of Finance and Premier Honourable Toke Talangi, and those comments were made after the budget meeting last week. According to Premier Talangi, the private sector will have effects from negative comments made to the international media, and that worries him. But people should be made aware of its status after the budget meeting last week.
Premier, now the recent budget meeting that you had last week, there has been some comments made after the budget meeting. Are you concerned at all?
I'm not concerned. I think, as I've said, not only to you now, but also the media overseas, we're in a better financial position than we have been for the past 2 years. So I'm relatively relaxed about our financial position. I understand that some people have cast doubts about our ability to pay and our cash flow position. In fact, our cash flow position at the present moment is probably the healthiest in a long, long time. So I'm pleased about that. My concern has been the fact that if people create doubt, they can cause problems for our traders, because as it's happened in the past, the suppliers may demand, in fact, that they pay in advance rather than do the normal things that they normally do and give them 20 or 60 days invoice payments.
Premier Talangi said he is not too worried about the budget, but government is looking at different areas of improvement.
It was unfortunate New Zealand had announced to us, or advised us, that they were going to cut our budgetary support by $800,000. By that time, the budget was ready to be presented to the House. I asked the Budget Review Committee to review the budget, and they were only able to come up with a $50,000 saving, if you wish. What we need to do at the present moment is review many of the things that we're doing at the present time to as we've always tried to do, improve our revenue positions with regard to the trading operations in the government. There are some other things that the government is also looking at the present time. Look, we have a situation at the present moment where we do have some reserves that we're keeping aside, and essentially we're keeping aside those reserves, if you like, for situations such as fuel price rises or exchange rate variations between the New Zealand and US dollar that we use to purchase the fuel with. Now, I've always felt that if there is a surprise of that kind, then at least we can meet it. Now, that reserve, in fact, will now be used, if you like, to assist us with some of the cash flow situation that will arise as a consequence of the reduction in assistance from New Zealand. That doesn't mean to say that we're going to have problems. It only means that we're going to have to manage our resources a lot tighter and a lot better. We're looking to try to see whether we can improve their trading performances. I think we've gone through the cutting process to the bone. So my view at the present moment is we've got to look at some of our assets, some of our other businesses that we could perhaps privatise and so on. And in that privatisation process, I would expect to make a bit of money so that the government can, in fact, improve its cash position from what was recorded in the draft budget that was put to the House this week. I'm reasonably relaxed about the 700,000 or 800,000 deficit. I think we can work our way through. As I said in my statement at the end, my biggest concern at the present moment is to ensure that I manage cash flow and ensure that everybody gets paid.
Some of the changes that has happened around the island, and there has been some really positive comments about those changes. Now, there was also a new tax reform that began last year. How's that going?
I think people are now starting to realise, in fact, that they have got more in their pockets. The tax reforms, insofar as income is concerned, has made a huge difference for many of our people. The NCT we still have to work on to ensure that, in fact, the traders are working with us to ensure that our people are not going to be overcharged for many of the things that they seem to be overcharging at the present time. Now, it's unfortunate, but when you have a look at the beer, for example, or alcohol, the prices haven't varied all that much. Therefore, I have to wonder whether, the NCT, as we charge the NCT for beer as well, has impacted in the same manner as the traders are appearing to be indicating to us at the present time. So I've talked to the Price Control Board, and I've said to them to please continue to investigate the reasons why the prices have risen so dramatic here over the past 12 months.
Now, since you came into government, your view has always been also to help the private sector. What can you assure them from some of the comments that has been made that things haven't changed, the government still have money to, I guess, assist the island?
I think my main focus at the present moment is to make sure that I pay people, because those very same people will go and also purchase from the private sector. That's what we need to do. The second thing that I need to do is to build the economy so that the private sector will also benefit from that. It's a rather longer term goal, but as you know, with Air New Zealand increasing the capacity on the seats on the plane coming in as from December, we need to build more accommodation and quickly so that we can get more tourists coming through, and that will help the private sector as well.
Premier Talangi wants to reassure people, especially the private sector, that government is working on improvements to all sectors on the island.